Singapore Cyber Day 2021, we'll be having the different associations to share with us on the career advice. For today's video, we have Miss Sophanie Yap, who works in IBM. She's also the AiSP Expo member and season member, and also the SCS member itself. So let's welcome Sophanie to share with us on the career advice.
Hey, hi everyone. Hi, my name is Sophanie. I'm currently working in IBM as a security services sales leader. But besides my day job, I actually volunteer pretty actively in the market as well. So I'm currently holding 3 positions in different organizations, one in AiSP as an Exco member, SCS as also an Exco member, as well as CSCIS as the chairman of IoT. So a very big thank you for Singapore Cyber Day organizing this very meaningful talk, right, to share about my career experience. And I hope that the experience that I share, right, will give the students some inspiration and an idea of what is it like to be working in the cybersecurity space in Singapore. So without further ado, the secretary has already prepared a list of questions for me in this box. So very nice box. So probably I'll just pick up some of them. They ask me to pick up the question, I'll start answering the question randomly.
So we have thank you, Sophanie. So we have collected all the questions from the primary school, secondary school, and special education schools itself, and also some of the IHLs that submitted a question to us. So we have Sophanie to answer some of the questions that the student had. Sophanie, please.
Okay, so I'll start to pick up some of the random questions that's being given to me. Okay, so this is the question. I'll be reading out. What are your motivations to continue whenever a new colleague does not trust or believe in you delivering what you tell others? Wow, okay. So basically, being in the, I would not say minority in the field, to be honest. When I started out, definitely I was part of minority, right? I do get some eyebrows raised when I was trying to deliver some of my thoughts and ideas to my customer. But of course, over time, I also improved myself and also take up certain certification as well to help to improve my knowledge. And with the experience that I had, and of course, over the years, I do gain a lot more. So as I mentioned, I was working in the as a sales representative, right? So over the years, I do have quite a good number of customers that gave good feedback. And then from then on, I then realized that, not having that technical knowledge is not the setback, right? But not able to learn and pick up, and the willingness to learn is very important. And I think this is the difference when it comes to that motivates me, right? Because I do know that my shortcoming was because I don't have a technical background, but at the same time, I have other things that motivate me as well, like my soft skill and the skills that I actually have in my school days. So actually that's progress and motivates me. And with that, I could actually translate very technical skills into something that is easily understandable to the people in the public, as well as the people, as well as my customer. So and with all the recognition that I got, right, that sort of motivates me. Yeah. So moving on to the next question. Okay, what does your course of study or line of profession entail? And what are your responsibilities at work? Okay, so unfortunately, my line of the course that I study has nothing really related to what I'm doing now. But what I studied definitely helps in terms of, anyway, I'm in a sales profession, as I mentioned earlier. So basically being in a sales, the business course does help in this because we could actually talk business outcomes with the customer. But having to say that, being in a cybersecurity space, certification knowledge is also very important. So definitely in between, over the years, right, I've also picked up certain ad hoc short courses. I don't have time to do, to get a degree for that. But definitely that's not stopping me. That's also part of the plan to get certain qualification done. And of course, I would say that if you are interested to join the cybersecurity industry, right, you don't have to worry because there are a lot of career opportunity out in this space. So you can actually have different, you can still, so let's say you are taking, you're interested in doing law, you can actually do law in cybersecurity space. If you are looking at business, you can actually do sales or business in the cybersecurity space industry. Or instead, if you are looking at the more technical skill set, looking at forensic, looking at incident response, looking at the more technical side, there are also other career out there. So not really specific. You don't have to worry, but it's definitely worth for you to think of what you want to do now so that you can better craft your way into the cybersecurity space. Yes. Okay. Third question, how did you get into cybersecurity and what motivates you to join? Okay, I'm often asked this question. In fact, I think I did a similar talk last year also on how I got into cybersecurity space. So basically, if you look at the video, I basically shared I wasn't from the cybersecurity space before. So my first job, I was actually in a system integration firm where basically I was doing mainly on infrastructure, system related kind of business. But at that point of time, the cybersecurity was definitely not in the radar. But a lot of times when I was speaking on solutions to the customer, cybersecurity questions always comes up because at that point of time, there were a lot of news that hit the headline. So definitely cybersecurity became a sense of responsibility for the customer to also include that as part of the proposal. And then I started seeing more and more coming in the way. And in the end, when I decided to, get a change of environment, one of the MNC vendor was actually looking out for people who are actually experienced. I was actually covering a lot of government customers, as in doing sales for the government sector. And then they wanted expertise, a different view. So I actually got the opportunity to join one of the cyber MNC in the cybersecurity space. And of course, I say what motivates me, right? I cannot deny, of course, the money portion was good. And to be honest, it's also a very, I would say also a very, basically it is an evergreen thing, right? Because it is an industry that's booming. It is an industry that constantly needs a lot of profession. So definitely that is the reason why I still, even though I got other opportunity out to do different things, right? But cybersecurity still remains as one of my focus, and I'm definitely still interested to further my knowledge and skill in this space as well. Okay, so next, how would you describe the work environment in your industry? Okay, it is very hectic, right? We need to work. I would say there's no end time to it, even as a sales profession and not really touching the technical portion, but being a trusted advisor to my customers, right? Definitely we work around the clock. In fact, I will see most of my colleagues that are doing, in fact, incident response or doing managed security services, they actually work around the clock, right? Especially during breaches where we actually had calls from our customers to sort of ask for advices and help, and we need to activate people from different sides. So there's definitely not a rest time, I would say. But of course, the good thing is that it's not a corporate desk-bound job, right? We do have we don't need to work we don't have a specific starting work and ending work time. So I would say it's pretty much flexible, but the flexibility also comes with a cost where, we need to be on the ball. And I would say generally the whole cybersecurity ecosystem is it's very high energy kind of industry, because everyone needs to be very updated on what is happening in the market so that we can give the first-hand advice to our clients. Yeah. Okay, what are some opportunities for women to leverage on should they be interested in making a career switch to cybersecurity? Yeah, okay, so basically I think for a start, right, joining the right, having the passion is important, and of course joining the right industry and joining I would say voluntary group is also important. So this is where I need to do some promotion for the AiSP Ladies in Cyber. Basically, we welcome any profession or even students of all walks of life, right, to basically join us should they be interested to know more about the industry. And to be honest, in the group itself, we see people who doesn't have, who are not in the cybersecurity space, but keen to learn more. And definitely joining a voluntary group is definitely a good start. So I would highly recommend, not really on AiSP, but of course, there are also other voluntary organizations as well. So I think there are no better way to start off knowing more from some of the experts in the industry. So I would definitely strongly recommend that people to join based on their interest group, the special interest group, to kickstart, to know more about the career in the cybersecurity space. Yes. Okay, next. What is necessary for a person working in the cybersecurity to excel in? Okay, it really depends on which domain or which part of cybersecurity pillar that you want to be in, right? Of course, if you want to be in the technical space, I believe certification definitely is important. The skill set is very important. And of course, you can be marketing, like I mentioned, right? You can do marketing, you can do legal, you can do sales, but all, right, be it which part of cybersecurity domain that you decided to choose from, but one thing remains similar to everyone in the cybersecurity space, I think, which is very important. I believe everyone in the cybersecurity space needs to be very updated. We need to be on the ball, and we need to know a lot of first-hand news, because every day there are, things that happens, breaches that happens, sometimes political reasons and all, right? So all this actually contributes to some of the attacks activity. So be it whether you're in sales, legal and all, you definitely need to know what is happening in the industry. So I think most importantly, whoever that chooses cybersecurity as a career, right, needs to consistently be motivated to know about the environment and to be always updated. Yeah, and to be highly networked as well. Yeah, so that's my 2 cents worth of what is necessary for a person to work in the cybersecurity industry. So next, what challenges did you face in your job? Okay, yeah. In fact, until now, I still face the same challenge, which I just mentioned as well. I think, like I mentioned, in the cybersecurity, even though I did say that you don't need to be highly skilled depending on the job, right? But ultimately, it is still a highly technical or highly, sometimes when they talk, right, it does sound a bit alien to people who are not really specific in this or haven't learned about that, technical jargons. So that is the part that I'm still struggling. But thankfully, with on-job trainings, as well as volunteering and speaking to a lot of industry veterans, that does help. And in the industry, it's a very small industry here in Singapore, right? So people are very helpful. They would also explain to me. So I guess these challenges will still be ongoing. Like I mentioned, right? Cybersecurity is always it's always making headlines and all. There are always a lot of different challenges that we hear from our customer. But like I say, the energy and the perseverance to continue to learn is important. So then we can overcome the challenges that we face in job, especially for people who are non-technical like myself. Yes. Moving on. Okay, how difficult was it on your way up in your career? Actually, I'm still figuring out also. I believe I still got a long way in the industry, and I'm total 6 years, 6+ years in the cybersecurity space. I would say that at the beginning, definitely it was steep, not knowing what the people are talking about. I think, but again, like I said, the industry is very close-knitted. There are a lot of activities, a lot of volunteering good, and a lot of good people with good knowledge, as well as taking up courses on my own, right? Reading also, and all this cybersecurity knowledge, right? To be honest, that you can easily just Google, and then you can basically form parts of the information that you need online as well. So I guess for me, the technical part was the technical part. The lacking of technical knowledge was the difficult part at first. But moving on, I also, of course, decide to do more so that I can progress also. Yeah. What drives you to become what you are right now? Okay. To be honest, I would say to put food on the table. I got a family to feed. But jokes aside, right, I think money is important, and as well, and of course, at the same time, as I progress, right, and as I work, and I started to volunteer myself in the different speaking slots with students as well as in the industry, I would say that with the recognition to help people, right, this is the part that actually motivates me. Not so much about the money already, of course, that's still important, but of course, the fact that every time I do a talk about cyber awareness, talk about training people with cyber knowledge, right? And I realized that people does benefit from it. I think this is the part that I believe that I've contributed humbly, and that makes me also that probably also gives me that kind of recognition and probably drives me and motivates me to who I am today. Yeah. So moving on. Okay, what do you think students can do in planning their future pathways? Okay, in fact, I think I've also told a lot of my own younger cousins, right, and younger siblings as well, who are still students, and then they did ask me for career advice, and I will say the same thing. I think it's important to start planning early. In fact, most of the young people that I spoke to, right, when you ask them, they will say they don't know, right? I mean, but if you say you don't know means you have not even started thinking about what you want to do. There must definitely be some. I think one thing that I regret back then was back then I really don't know what I wanted to do, right? And then for me, the clear indication was since I have a very generic degree certification, right? I mean, and typically people judge doing business as doing sales. So I ended up in sales, but of course at the same time, if I were to pick or have the right mindset to know what I wanted to do in my earlier school days, right? So example, if let's say for yourself, you are looking at doing in cybersecurity space, but cybersecurity space is so big, right? You need to know what are your strengths, and then what are your weaknesses. What do you like to do? Do you like to sit on the back end, or do you like to talk to people? I think you need to roughly know where to position yourself so that you can always improve on your strength, and then not so much on your I would say that it's easier to improve your strength than to work on your weakness. So I would say that it's important to at least know when you are studying, right? Let's say you want to know technical, then take up things that are technically related, right? Can be programming course, can be some certification that's related to cybersecurity. And then it's no harm trying to plan early, because one day, right, this will be definitely useful to you eventually when you choose that career path, and that also gives you an added advantage versus other students who are interviewing for a particular job. So I would say that planning early never will definitely be always helpful, and to know what you want to achieve will also let you reach your goal faster as well. Yeah, so read up, talk to more people, right? Join voluntary groups, join your student council, and get to know what are the activities around. Try to speak to people who are in that field, and then you think that they might be a good mentor to you. Try to approach them and don't be shy, right? It's always good to plan early and talk to people who are relevant to what you want to do in the future. Yes. Okay, how is it working in the IT industry as a female? Is there any different treatment? Yes, but it's for me, I think very positively. I would think that it's a good sense of treatment, being working in a male-dominant industry, right? I mean, in terms of the technical part, I would say that yes, there is a difference, because if I try to sound a little bit more technical or give some of my knowledge where I know that I'm right? Sometimes I still do get some, I'll not say bad remarks, but sometimes I do get some guys are trying to, I don't think that they're trying to, bring me down, but definitely not welcoming. But of course, being in the sales part in the cybersecurity industry, right, I would say that there are a lot of females out there. So in that perspective, I don't see much of a difference. In fact, we have a lot of like-minded people in the industry as well. So I guess for the different treatment part, right, depending on which aspect of cybersecurity they are in, right, in the domain that I'm in, I would say that only if I'm trying to say something that sounds too technical, then people usually try to raise brows. But other than that, in terms of the soft skills, the business outcome, to derive a business outcome, to talk, to link the technical into something that is easily understandable. I think in fact, I think people who are more technical actually appreciate that. So in fact, they treat us quite well in terms of this, because we are women. So I guess in that part, I would say not much of a different treatment. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Okay, how did you choose your desired course? Okay, it really depends on what you want to do, right? I mean, for me, back then when I was schooling, it was pretty straightforward. I know that I don't like to, I know that I definitely cannot take a desk-bound job. That's one thing. And I know that I like to speak a lot. I like to interact with people. I like to network. So at that point of time when I was studying, I really sort of figured out that, one day my job will definitely revolve around me speaking, mingling, talking, networking, and I like, so when I chose my course back then, wasn't too much into the technical perspective. That's not my interest, of course. But I guess if you are looking at choosing cybersecurity as a career option, right? I mean, you don't have to really focus on going to just cybersecurity. There are so many domains in the IT segment, right? You can look at computer science, you can look at business IT, you can look at really forensic or all the different domains that is available in the course, but really choose something that fits what you think that you might want to do in future, and so that it's not, so you're still working for something that you like and then still can earn good money out of it as well. Yeah. Okay, moving on. What are some of the common skills needed, tech and non-tech, for the roles in cybersecurity? I would say that for both tech and non-tech, one thing is very important. One skill that is important is to be, I would think, in my personal opinion, is the ability to translate something that is out of the world, the technical jargon, into something that people could understand. Because many times all the technical knowledge does sound a bit too deep and too complex to understand. So be it whether you are tech and non-tech, right? I mean, even if you are the tech, sometimes when they talk too technical into it, people don't understand. So if people don't understand, they cannot react and resolve a problem. So I would say the one common skills that's needed is the ability to digress or put something that is complex into something simple. Yeah. So especially in the cybersecurity space where things are very complicated in the large enterprise. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sophanie. So maybe you have any last advice that you want to give to the students?
I would say continue to learn and keep learning, and don't be afraid to do something that is different, because I do pick up on something that nobody believes that will work, and in the end it turned out to be well. So always there to do something different, always there to ask and be different. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sophanie, for sharing with us. Stay tuned for our next video on the other associations have to share on the career advice for Singapore Cyber Day. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.